And the other thing is some of the metrics that have been traditionally used to measure recruiter success are, and I'll put this in the nicest way I know how, trash. They're trash, right? So, like, one of the biggest ones that a lot of companies love to use, and I'm happy there is a movement away from it, is time to fill. There are so many things that can impact somebody's ability to fill a job, including things like their holidays in between. There's a freeze in hiring budget. The hiring manager gets sick, and now your numbers are looking terrible. And what I've seen that do is lead recruiters to do bad things, right? Or I see like recs open and close. And sometimes it's not that they're bad people. They have to do these people have to survive. This is their job. These are the metrics we're using. And this is across any sort of role and time of somebody's career. If you keep giving them metrics that are stupid and telling them this is a measure of success, then you're actually promoting bad behaviors because you're putting people with their livelihood in a bad spot. And a lot of people are just trying to survive. They're trying to do what they think is best because you're using these stupid numbers and telling them they're real and then.
I think one of the funniest things is like when I went internal, being an agency recruiter to going internal, one of the metrics that they would constantly ping me on was time to fill.
Gosh.
And I've worked in the cleared space, so people, clearance crossovers take so much time. So technically, it could be like 6 months. I could have the person in a week, but it could take 6 months before the person starts, and I would get like hammered and compared against like, these recruiters doing like commercial work. Like, well, why are you failing? And I'm like, I'm not failing. I'm doing my job. Like, what do you want me to do? Quit and go somewhere else?
Exactly, right? And sometimes when you are so focused on time to fill, you don't get the best candidate. You don't get the best person because you go with whoever will say yes first. You go with whoever has the time to schedule interviews first, right? You don't get the best pool because you are busy rushing, playing with numbers. And I think that is a lesson for the entire candidate and the entire employee experience, right? We have to get away from just seeing people as numbers. And I think while I work with data, I believe, and this is the the box I'll stand on, my soapbox that I'll stand on, people need to be seen as people and treated as people. And every data point, I work with data. I have a responsibility when I do people analytics to recognize that every data point is a human being. And we've got to move away from this element of these are just numbers. It doesn't work that way. There's too much complexity in how we create our processes and how we create our programs to go to these are just numbers because we're seeing the repercussions of making those type of decisions right now, right? We're seeing people will move away. We're seeing that people are really just fed up with the entire process of selection, the entire process of just being in corporate America right now. We're seeing the pushback on return to work. We're seeing people paying attention to compensation numbers and equity and even DEI. We look at those things and it starts again at the candidate experience because we're starting them off as saying these are just numbers. And then we make recruiters feel like numbers. And so what they're doing, they're treating the candidate like numbers. We got to get away from that because regardless of what technology comes, we're still human.